for that, what you can do is that you can write to me in the chat box or to Samir Jain in the chat box your email ID with which you have registered. Please write down your email ID, and it should be correct, because we have found many cases in which email IDs were not correct, and therefore you were not getting Canvas invitation. So that is very important for you to take test, right? So please write your email ID in chat to me, not to Dr. Mani Madhukar, who is the speaker. And for all your questions, you please refer to Dr. Madhukar, because you are writing me the questions. So please do not write to me, write to the speaker, Dr. Mani Madhukar, so that you are able to get all the answers. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. So those only who are not able to access Canvas. Those who are able to access Canvas, for them, I am suggesting you to please go through the file menu there. When you go to the file menu, you will be able to access the complete material. Okay. So soon the session will start. Thank you. फिर से लॉकडाउन लगा दिया आधा आधा 50% लगा दिया हाँ अब बाकी जितना भी फिजिकल स्पेस मॉल जिम ये सब कॉम्प्लेक्स सब बंद कर दिया और आपकी सरकारी और गैर सरकारी कार्यालय भी 50% के साथ खुलाएगा और बाहरी व्यक्ति को आना वर्जित है
इसको क्या हो गया कहाँ रह गए ब्लॉकचेन एंड टेक्नोलॉजी छोड़ो कहते कुछ हम पढ़ लेते हैं खुद से हटा
So till Dr. Mani Madhukar shares the slide, starts his session, let me tell you that here is where you can find out the course material. So this is the dashboard. This is it. You can see this is the canvas. This is the schedule. We'll be updating the schedule. But on file page, on file menu, if you click on file menu, you will find day 1, day 2, uploaded media, YouTube links. So on day 2, you can see the material that has been uploaded here, right? And the similarly on day 1 also, you have lectures and lab. So lab material, let's see for the moment. Here it is available. So please go through these lecture and lab material. I go to the course again and look at the student's view. This is how it will look to you. So on files, you can see here this day 2, right? So all these things are here available. Somebody pointed out that my files were not there. I have uploaded them as well. That's all from my side. Richa, perhaps my screen was visible. I shared, right? No, I have unshared now. I've unshared now. Thank you, Ramakrishna ji. Okay, let me check. Just give me a minute. So Dr. Madhukar is going to start his session soon.
Should I start sharing?
Yes, Dr. Thank
you, ma'am. Okay, so before we went on the break, I saw a question there on the chat, which was about I do not have access to institutional email ID. So, guys, those of you who do not have access to their college provided email IDs, please connect with me. I can help you get I can get a institutional email ID for the time being, at least for this year, so that you can use the content available on Academic Initiative portal. But please connect me on LinkedIn or separately from this forum. What I'm gonna continue from where I was discussing with you was how is this blockchain as a service helpful, or how does it really help in learning or getting access to blockchain easily? So a couple of snapshots from what I was showing you on the service piece here. If you remember the conversation, right, in a blockchain network, what we said we are going to have more than one organization. That means more than one peer, and each organization can have, within the organization there can be so many peers as well, right? So so that means that many many peers are going to get connected to their organization. Now, when they connect to the organization, they will be connecting through some certificate authority of the organization, right? So that their identity is preserved, is stored, right? And then when they, sort of communicate outside the organization, they again need that identity, right? That again identity which has to be given by the CA, right? So just to give you a view of all that, right? So see this, in this snapshot, there are peers, right? This is a peer, right? So if you see, these are different peers, right? Euro 1, Euro 2, Euro 3, right? DYI US 1, US 2, and all, right? Similarly, if you see, there are a few certificate authorities, right? So what the point was, instead of having different participants or different nodes maintain their own infrastructure to host the blockchain, you know, platform like IBM Cloud provides for a unified way of growing the network, governing the network, and onboarding new people or new participants, new nodes on the network, right? So that's how it really eases the overall adoption of the blockchain from a solutioning point of view. Okay. Now, as I was just saying, right, there are multiple certificate authorities for different things, right? Somebody to want to manage, developers' credentials, another to manage staging credentials, somebody to manage testing credentials, and so on and so forth, right? So different sort of authorities, certificate authorities, right? Similarly, this is a snapshot from the Ron trading channel. It's a channel, right? So you remember what we said? We said channels are used to communicate between, some peers, two or more than two peers, right? So this is a bond trading channel which will be connected by two or more than two channels, right? I'll quickly show you, a slide in order to confirm what I'm trying to put across to you, right? And then we'll come back over here. Okay, let me share this, right? Yeah, so this is what we are discussing, right? Fabric peer. So the peer can connect to one or more channels. See this blue peer on, the square there, and then this peer is connected to, a green channel, a red channel, and a blue channel. So what this channel is? This channel is the communication mode which this peer may be connected to some other peers, right? Okay, that means, and one ledger is maintained per channel. So a green ledger will be ledger maintained on the green channel will be different, ledger maintained on red one will be different, and a ledger maintained on the blue one will be different. See this at the bottom, right? So that means a ledger maintained on a channel will only be visible to the people who are connected on the same channel and not on any other channel. So whatever content is being on the blue channel is not visible to red and green. Okay. Now see the other pieces. The peer has two chain code installed on it. One is A and B. So A is basically for some business process. Let's say A is for changing the ownership of a car, and B is for actually, submitting the road text for a car. Let's say two different business processes, two chain codes there, right? So the peer manages these chain codes which are installed on it, number one. Number two, it also manages the runtime Docker containers for the instantiated chain code. Okay, the chain code or the smart contract. This is what A and B is nothing but a chain code or a smart contract, right? Each peer actually has a local membership service provider, the local MSP. Remember, I was showing you on the cloud instance how a local MSP is there, right? So that's what I was trying to give you. But this MSP is basically the one which provides the crypto material to the peer, right? About the access control, about the access request of it, right? And whatever peer is trying to do as an outcome is basically emitted as an event. So a peer is trying to write to the ledger, that's an event. A peer is trying to invoke a query, that's an event, right? So that's what typically how a peer basically connects. The second thing was the certificate authority, right? So there is a default certificate authority within the fabric structure. That's typically used for issuing e-certs, the identity certificates, right? So before a particular channel joins, before this client application can actually send something, they need a certificate. They need a certificate to connect to it, right? see there the LDAP, HSM, all the protocols, right? So that means whatever rules are defined, your access rights are defined in the local, structure of the organization. The same gets replicated in the certificate authority as well, CA, right? So it supports LDAP for user authentication. It supports HSM for security, and of course, supports clustering for high availability of it. Right? So each client application uses the Fabric SDK for connecting to channel to one or more peers. We already saw that. Each client application connects over channels to one or more orderer nodes once it gets the responses, and it also gets events from the peer, right? And the client application receives the crypto material from the local MSP to whatever, right? So for example, this client gets a local, so any client connected to this peer will get the crypto material from the local MSP, right? So clients can be written in different languages, as I said earlier: Node.js, Java, Go, Python support is also there, right? So this is typically an example of the entire pieces together, a client application, right? The smart contract typically governs the overall life cycle of any object or an asset in the organization, right? We've seen on this. So from an overall solutioning point of view, if you see, right, there is, the Hyperledger Fabric basically sits on a container, right? And then you can use a Visual Studio Code or some other extension to do the coding piece to generate the smart contracts. It talks to, even there is a Go JavaScript. And then you have these applications sitting at the top there, right? Whether it's a commercial paper or a supply chain or whatever application you are looking for, right? This is something which, Sumit is going to cover tomorrow. This is what I just showed you. So on IBM Cloud, the underneath layer that you see, right? The multi-cloud deployment that you see, whether it's on-prem or IBM Kubernetes service or Amazon Web Service or Azure or Google Cloud, this entire virtualized, container can sit on any of these. And then you have multiple orchestration services like, Kubernetes is there, Rancher is there, which helps you in, building together. You also have advanced tooling which helps you in developing the smart contract and deploying the smart contract, right? So there are operator tools to deploy it. And then finally, there is this Hyperledger Fabric. So IBM Cloud blockchain service is powered by Hyperledger service. Okay. So let me go back now to the browser, and I'll be more than happy to actually, see this. This is the channel there, right, that I was talking to you about. This is the smart contract which is getting instantiated. See this bond trading contract, bond trading, so this is the version one of the, smart contract. This is the second version of the smart contract, right? Similarly, the credentials, the certificate authority, this is how we see. So this certificate authority is provide certificate to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 users. One is the admin user, the other is test 2 user, the other is test 3 user, then there is a tester, and then there is a user 2. So the certificate authority provides, user keys like this, registered users to the registered users, right? This is how a typical transaction looks like. Basically, a combination of, and this is the VS code environment that you can use for programming within the service, right? This is the overall architecture of the entire service, right? We have your developer tools are available. You have a Hyperledger Fabric which sits on top of an infrastructure layer there, on IBM Cloud. Then you have the IBM Blockchain Platform console, the console that you were just showing, you were just seeing it. You have a client application which is still not there, but then you can deploy it. If you see the 6th and 7th, you can deploy the same entire piece on multiple clouds. You can deploy it on Amazon, you can deploy it on Google, you can deploy it on, Azure, wherever you want to, you can actually deploy there. Okay, and yeah, this is what I was just telling you, the typical certificate authority, various certificate authorities. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay. See this? Now see, it's running on a Fabric version 2 for a state database. It's using a CouchDB. Okay. So I can actually get all the details from here. It tells me when is my enrollment certificate expiring. So my enrollment certificate is expiring on 4th of January 2023, right? Okay. I can can also see what is the MSP admin, which is associated with this, right? So this is the MSP admin. Okay, let me quickly go back to the nodes. Now these are the two service certificate authorities. See, for org one, I have a separate certificate authority. For the ordering service, I have got a separate certificate authority. Let's see this. Now, if you see under the org one, you should be seeing that user which is already, see this peer one, I just showed you peer one. So this peer one is already registered under the org one certificate authority. Similarly, I have an admin which is registered under the org one certificate authority, right? But this is using a SQLite underneath. See this, right? And it is using for certificate authority, it is using the Fabric version 1.5.2. Okay. Let me show you, the ordering service, right? So this is the ordering service which is already created. Yeah. Okay. I can actually see, right? So the service expires on 4th of January. So as I said earlier, these are identity certificates, right? The identity certificates typically are the ones which are provided for any node to join the network, right? Okay, so there is a complete, if you click on the tutorial or the documentation piece here, let me show you that. Yeah, the docs. So this documentation actually is a very elaborate documentation which comes along with the service in order to help you use it. So it starts from very basic scratch, right? And it comes with a video support as well, right? So how do you pin a service? How do you actually, create a container? It shows everything underneath. Okay, these are the various, how do you want it? Whether you want it on a single Kubernetes cluster, you want it on multiple ones, what sort of layout do you want? So you will have all of it, right? Yeah. What is a peer? What's the certificate authority? How do you actually provide access to it? What's the ordering service? What is the channel? So we discussed all of this. I'm just trying to show you, all of this. Not just this much, it also provides some example networks, right? That you can create. You can actually create it using the videos which are available over here. Yeah, see this? Sorry, this one. See this? So right now what we did was we basically have our org1, which has one peer, one, a CA. We have an MSP definition for this. We have an ordering service, right? Which we have an ordering service CA and we have an ordering service MSP, right? Similarly, we can create a org2 and then we can have a channel which can connect all the three of them, right? So peer one, peer of org2 and the ordering service connected to this channel. So I hope this concept of channel, this concept of peer, is pretty clear that how this gets connected. So I'll take a pause now and any questions, because before going we had a few questions. Okay, now what is eCert? So Saurav, let me try to explain this in a different manner, right? So
Recording in progress.
So whenever anybody wants to take an admission to the college, right? What they do? They typically, would need will need to submit a deposit a fee or identity card to the college, right? Provided by the certificate authority. Once they get eCert, okay, this tab I follow, you will be able to create a business network when deploy from here. Okay. I would now like to share one link with you, which has a lot of content to learn. So those of you who want to get their hands dirty with practicing, right? Whatever that you are reading, learning, understanding. So there is something called which IBM provides for code pattern. I'm not sure if you heard of this earlier. So code pattern basically is like a small project in itself. Okay, and it has all the relevant software, relevant databases, data sets. All of them are actually provided within it. Let me try to show you something. So today we're talking about blockchain, right? So let me show you some code pattern for blockchain. Let's say if we want to join a fabric to this, right? There is something on this. Somebody who wants to start, getting a quick start guide for developers. There is this. This is the resource. Somebody who wants to understand the basics of distributed ledgers, right? There is a tutorial over there as well, right? Somebody who wants to start building basic blockchain applications, the first one, right? Somebody who's just keen about creating some basic structure, right? So this is a series that you can leverage. Let me show you some advanced apps. So somebody who wants to use a blockchain, Hyperledger Fabric for loyalty points, right? If somebody wants to create that, now see this. That's the beauty that I was actually talking to you about. What is a code pattern? Now, this is a complete project in itself. It helps you deploy an instance of Fabric with a local EVM chain code. Okay, this is the architectural diagram floor, and these are the various components into this. To do this, the entire thing is provided on the GitHub repo. It's a public GitHub repo, right? See this? This is the problem statement that what we are going to do with the loyalty points. This is the architecture flow that I was just talking to you about. It's a DApp, loyalty points DApp, and then how does it connects to a Fabric blockchain network. These are the various components. This is right now Fabric version 1.4, right? And it's using Node.js and Bootstrap. Now, see, you have a complete list of what to need as a prerequisite. You need a Go version 1.11.1. You need a Logo version of 17.06, right? And these are the various steps. Step 1 is step 2 is step 3. Now see this. Each step is given with the commands, right? How do you do that? How do you can just simply copy paste it. You don't have to even do that. Where do you download the Docker images from? I guess Samir is going to do a couple of exercises with you. He's going to provide you with some shell script, with some scripts which you can use to do all of this there. So the same way you can do this, right? How do you install and change the chain code? How do you set up this? How do you deploy the smart contract? See, the entire command is given. How do you assign loyalty points? How do you actually change it? Complete thing is given, right? This is the UI, how it looks like, the web application of it, right? It also gives you the entire how do you start the application since it's locally deployed. So all of this is given to you, right? You just have to follow it. Similarly, I was telling you that how do you get started with your first blockchain project, right? See, there are code patterns associated with this. So you can create a very basic blockchain network using what I was just trying to show you, right? This is the flow. It also has a Node.js application. See, again, it will host you, take you to a public GitHub repo, which has a complete drill down about the various technologies, the prerequisites. How do you do that? See, so you can git clone this repo on your local machine, right? And then how do you actually use the VS Code to package the smart contract? How do you deploy it on? See how to create IBM Cloud Service. See that? This is what I was telling you. How do you create IBM Kubernetes service? How do you host it on top of it? Right? Blockchain platform. It's completely, self-driven. You just have to sit back, relax, and, replicate the steps. That's what you have to do. You don't, so this is like, a great platform to learn. See, it will help you. How do you create a Kubernetes cluster? Just keep on clicking on those. It will automatically give the default 4 virtual CPUs, 16 GB RAM with one worker node and one zone, right? So this is what will create you. Once your cluster is available, it will automatically connect to that cluster and the service will be up and live, right? So all of this is available, right? So as I said, it can be deployed on a free cluster because you don't need to go for high availability here. It will also tell you how do you create a certificate authority. Absolutely everything is detailed there, guys, right? So in case you would like to follow, this is a sample link where you can actually create. Yes, this is a tutorial series as well. Uh, but then the one that I'm right now sharing, it's first of the series where you can create a basic blockchain network with one certificate authority, one ordering service. And once you have been able to do that, you can move on to further things you can do. Okay. Uh, and this is just only one of many that I'm showing you here. Where there's so many of them over here. Um, okay. Yeah, and then there is a learning series as well. Similarly, somebody who wants to learn about, let's say something else, maybe even AI or maybe even quantum, right? Whatever. See this? Now, how do you get access control in blockchain smart contract to streamline supply chain operations, right? Or how do you perform analytics on top of blockchain transactions? Somebody was asking me about a question, right? That how do I do analytics or something, on that, right? Similarly, there is a code pattern for tracking assets on a blockchain ledger. So how do you? So let's say Samir sold his car to me, right? How do you track that movement of asset? Or maybe Boeing and all are using their spare parts. They have put it on blockchain now, right? So how do you track whether a particular spare part has moved from inventory to it has been fitted on a craft? All of that is basically you can control. You can see that there. Okay, so all of this is available. How do people use blockchain telecom roaming for their user identification and overage management, right? So that's all is available. So see this. This was about that analytics in the insurance domain for claims processing, right? So it will create a Kubernetes cluster, on that it will deploy the service. It will create a network, using a certificate authority, membership service provider, and all that, right? So all of that, the one that I've just detailed to you. And the best part is you don't